kitty.
My name is Danny Reynolds. In this tutorial we are going to be creating the flying effect. Now flying is a heavily requested tutorial, and plus the techniques used in this tutorial can be applied to many things. So without further ado, let's get down to work. I have my comp here, and this is the finished comp here. You can see that I take off the ground and a sonic boom occurs and I fly away. So I'm going to go into over here and I have my footage already imported. You need to have a background plate. And what I mean by that is you need to have something without you in it. So film your footage on a tripod and then get a shot of you doing your flying thing and then get a shot of you without it, just so you have some background footage to work with. But anyway, take your flying footage, which is you running and then jumping, I assume. Unless you can actually fly, then this tutorial would be pointless. Take that footage and drag it down into the new comp button, which is this little thingy right here. Now that your footage is in your comp, trim it up just to the point where you want it. So I'm going to grab this blue thing right here and just drag it to my timeline. And alright, we're looking good. And I jump and I fail at flying, which is okay because I can't fly. Alright, now take your background, which would be my still image here, and I'm just going to take it and drag it underneath, and I'm going to decheck that. Now, my image happens to be bigger. I'm just going to hold Command Alt F, or on a PC it would be Control Alt F, and that'll fit it to the image. Now, we've got some problems to begin with, but we'll cover this in a minute, but I'm just going to lower the opacity and center it up a little. Select your bottom layer, and then just center it so it doesn't look as hazy. So, alright, yeah, we've got some color correcting to do, but that's, got to deal with that. But let's continue, alright? Go to the point in time where you jump and you're in midair. So I'm going to say right about here. Now, what you're going to want to do is hit Command D while selecting your layer, or Control D, and duplicate the layer. Now press Enter and name it Figure, or Flying, and then right click on your layer that's called Figure, then go to Time, Freeze Frame. Now this is going to be our flying figure. Luckily we won't have to move much because, well, you won't really notice. Now select your pen tool up here. And I'm going to, if I hit the squiggly while, my comp selected, I can go full screen here. And we're going to just outline our character here. Hit H and G to switch between the hand tool and the pen tool. So I'm going to hit hand here and move. Then I'm going to press G again. And basically you're just going to select this whole person. You're going to outline him. It's going to be great. And you're going to watch me do every step of it. Nope, just kidding. Luckily for you I have it already made, so I don't have to do that. I'm just going to go over to my other comp. And I'm just going to copy this. And right in here. And I'm going to center my person. Position. Don't need that. Let's just recenter him. Alright, now I'm going to go back in time a little because I had a different frame. So right here. Now at the frame you selected for your still, make sure you cut that off in your still moving footage. So that would be Fly Daniel, that would be my footage, and I just cut it off right where my real footage, or I'm sorry, my still footage begins. Now make sure that they're completely different frames. Now as you notice the background's really bright, so let's go back to our background. I'm going to name it background. Select your background. Whoa, sorry, that was weird. I was going to cry there. Select your background, then go to curves, and then drag down the curve a little so we can darken it. Now, luckily for us, we're going to have camera movement, and we're going to make this whole thing bigger because if you can see over here, we've got a little black bar, and that's not good. But don't worry, we're going to fix that. Select your figure now, and hit P on the keyboard, and then press the stopwatch. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try and match the same amount of force going off the ground and then going into midair, because it kind of looks weird if he has a different amount of force going up. If you understand what I mean. If you don't, well, just follow the tutorial. Now go a few frames later, about, I don't know, let's see, about 4 frames later, and drag your character off screen, and that should There you go. And if you hold shift while you do it, it'll go straight up and it'll be perfect. Now, kind of a tip here, just press the motion blur button and then press it on your character. And the motion blur is a nice little thing because it makes, you know, we don't see body movement, so it covers that up nicely. All right, our character is has flown off, and that looks pretty good. Now, next thing we want to do is create a little sonic boom here, and this is kind of a neat little effect, and it looks really cool. So, go to Layer, New, Solid. Make sure your solid is white. Press OK, make comp size, and then press OK. Now, click the eye for the white solid layer and drag it underneath everything except the background. Now, what we're going to do is go up to our elliptical mask tool, and I know a lot of you are confused. Where is that? Well, click this box up here. It's called the rectangular mask tool. Then go down and go select elliptical mask tool. And then double click on the elliptical mask tool while your white solid layer is selected. What that'll do is just create a perfect little circle in the middle. And alright, that's looking good. Actually, we don't even know what it looks like. Then do it again. Click it twice. Again. So now we have two masks. Press M while selecting the white solid. Actually, I forgot to click it twice. Alright, now we have two masks. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to select the second mask and double click on it. Make sure your masks are different colors so you can, you know, tell which one. And just shrink it a little. And then center it up. Alright, looking good. Now, click the eye for your white solid. Now we have this, we're going to have to change something to subtract. So go to your second mask, your mask 2, which should be the inside, you know, circle, and change it to subtract. Now we've got this big ring, and that's exactly what we want. Now we're going to make it 3D. Woohoo, 3D. Click the little, underneath this 3D box, select 3D box, just to make it 3D. Now, your layer's 3D. Press W for rotate. I know, just call it rotate. It's, you know, it's much more fun to say. And then just rotate around. Press V, move it down, and put it right where your character takes off. Just like center it right where your character takes off. Now what you're going to do is press scale for that one and press the stopwatch and shrink it down to right about there. And that's your smallest point, so Alt begin bracket your layer at the smallest point, therefore it'll disappear right as you take off. So you don't have it messing around, or you could do transparency and stuff. But we're going to go to about 4 frames later and scale it up again. Just scale the crap out of it. Alright, it's huge. Now go about 2 frames back, press T, press the stopwatch for opacity, go 2 frames forward, and lower your opacity to 0. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select our white solid, go up to Layer, Pre-Compose. Now select Move All Attributes into a new composition and call it Sonic Boom. Boom, boom. And OK. Now this is a new composition. Alt double click on it, and this opens up your new composition. Go up to Layer, New, Solid. Then make sure the color is black. Make comp size, OK. Drag it underneath the white solid. Then go back to your other comp. Now what this does is it allows us to give us a background template. Now just turn off the eye. Now select your background layer. Shut curves here. Right click and go to Blur and Sharpen CC Vector Blur. I love this preset. It adds just weirdness and it creates a cool little just, I don't know, it just creates 3D, it creates like a ripple, bulge. And what we're going to do is for vector map, select, instead of none, select your layer, which is Sonic Boom, and then drag the amount up. Now go frame in where you can see it. We're probably going to have to make it more. Now the thing with vector is it's a little intensive, so I'm going to change my resolution to 3rd, just so it's not going to look as good, but we can change that later. And just drag it up more. until you can see it. Alright, it worked. That's good. Now let's change it back down a little. Now, this is supposed to be a subtle effect, and if it's, you know, not subtle, then it didn't work. Or, if you wanted to. Okay, I'm rambling. I'm really sorry, guys. Alright. We finished that. We got our sonic boom to work. Perfect. Now we're going to add a little camera ripple. Basically, when the sonic boom hits the camera, we kind of want it to ripple a little. So go to Layer, New, Adjustment Layer. So right at the point where you think the sonic boom would hit the camera, I think it would be right about here, we're going to make sure the layer begins here, the adjustment layer. So Alt, begin bracket, right at that frame. Right-click, and go to Blur and Sharpen, CC Radial Blur. Actually, I found out that this is not the easiest way. Just go to Radial Blur. Now, what we're going to do is, okay, we can see that it's already done kind of what we wanted, and it's about how much ripple. I think we're going to do amount is 5, so change your amount to 5. And let's change the center here. So click the little target here, and change your center right where he takes off. Alright, that looks good. Now, we're going to press the stopwatch for amount, go back to the beginning, or not the beginning, just right when your character takes off, and change it to 0. But luckily for us, we already started we had our layer start right then, so we have to just go a few frames forward and stop it. So press 0 again. Alright, now just make sure your ripple or your radial blur just disappears as soon as your character takes off. It's supposed to be really quick, so alright, that's looking really good. Now we're going to add some fake camera motion. One of you commented on my clone tutorial, how'd you add camera motion while having your characters clone? If you know anything about cloning, well, I'm not actually cloned there. I had to do 2 separate masks and stuff, but I added my own camera motion in to make it look more, well, real. So what you're going to have to do is we're going to make our camera motion look real by filming something that we can track. So I filmed this. I have my little these boxes here. They're for my pool, but I just tracked them, and you can follow a tracking tutorial. I'm not going to go in depth on that, but basically you just track that and apply it to a null. And we're just going to copy my null here, Command C. Now none of this is necessary, but just Command C and go back to your flying layer, Command V. And what we're going to do is we're going to link up all our layers. So I'm going to take the background, link that to my Flying Daniel footage. I'm going to take my figure, link that to my Flying Daniel footage. I'm going to take my sonic boom, link that to my Flying Daniel footage, and leave your adjustment layer alone. Now take your Flying Daniel footage, or your actual footage, and link that to the null. Now we're going to scale that up, and we'll probably reposition it a little. I'm going to scale it a little down, and I'm going to reposition it. And now we have this organic looking camera movement, and our character takes off, and bam, it looks pretty amazing with the camera motion. And you can also turn on motion blur for all your layers. If your camera movement is a little more violent than mine. And actually I'm going to scale this down a little more so I can see my character. And that looks actually really decent. I'm pretty happy with that. And the sonic boom, you could even color the sonic boom, but it would kind of look weird. But just giving you suggestions. Alright, that's pretty much it for the flying part of this tutorial. Stay tuned for the next part where we cover how to create X-ray vision, seeing through walls and such. Well, my name's Danny Reynolds, and I will see you in this next tutorial. And be sure to be ready for the compressed tutorial series. Been working on that for a while. It's turning out great. There's going to be a ton of extra features and just how to do compression in general. So, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you around the internet.